Hey guys, welcome into the Be Different podcast. Brad Redford is here. Across the street, Nick Given and Greg Wichard. And thank you guys for following us so far. And if you haven't yet, follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe. It helps us out a lot. We've had a lot more traction over the last month. Thank you for that, and let's try to continue it as we move forward. We're going to jump right into Around the World. It's a very simple game that we play here. 5 topics, and we've searched all around the globe for the 5 most interesting topics in sports at some level, and we're going to bring those to you today. We're going to cover Dwayne Wade and the recent video that he put out. We'll do a preview of the Pac-12 Conference. We'll talk about Danny Hurley in his first year at UConn. We will follow that up with Jon Elmore, a player spotlight, the Marshall three-point shooter, and then lastly, bald men doing tug of war with their bald heads. Should it be an Olympic sport? We will discuss that in this week's Around the World. So, fellas, welcome in to the podcast now. Greg, how are you?
Great. How are you, Brad?
Nick, I know you had a late night last night. You're working relatively late into the morning hours, but you are here.
Mm-hmm.
You look okay. I was going to say good, but I don't want to lie to you.
I feel okay.
Okay, all right. So are we going to jump right into the topics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's jump into Dwayne Wade. So Dwayne Wade, over the offseason, was going back and forth on whether he should retire, should not retire. The 3-time NBA champion, 12-time All-Star, decided to let the public aware of his decision by putting on a dark black shirt, going into a dark black room, and speaking for 10 minutes about his early days in inner city Chicago. He cried from minute 7 to minute 8, ultimately told everybody within basketball that cares about Dwayne Wade that he's coming back for one more year to play in Miami. Guys, what did you think of D. Wade's latest video?
I think he hung out with LeBron a little too much.
Yeah, probably a little too much.
And
I actually had not thought about that.
Went
That's
back.
a great point.
It's he did the LeBron's note to himself kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting pretty old. Like I'm glad you're returning for your 45th season, but no one needs to watch a 10-minute. You could just say, "Hey, I'm coming back next year," and everyone will be happy. Instead, you made everybody sad.
When are big athletes going to realize that less is more? You think they'll ever get that? No?
I would say by what we've been seeing recently, I don't know if that is ever going to happen.
I think that Dwayne saw Kobe's last year reunion tour or whatever, like Kobe's last year, and was like,
Yeah.
I really want that. I want people to love me like they love Kobe, and they're just not going
It's
to.
just not going to happen.
Uh-uh.
I mean, Kobe, he's in a whole different stratosphere when it comes to players. I mean, he's top 5 NBA player of all time. Dwayne Wade's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but not at the level of
I wouldn't even say Dwayne Wade's a top 20 player of all time.
You could maybe argue it, but I would say top 50 would probably be
Yeah.
about his ceiling. I mean, I think Scottie Pippen was like 40 all time or 39 all time.
Yeah.
So I don't know that D Wade would.
And there was a lot of people to come in the league that were better than Scotty after that.
Yeah.
So I don't think Dwayne Wade's top 50.
It was to me, if I could sum up the video in one word, would be weird. I thought it was just a weird video. I thought it was strange. He tried to be very open, which I think I put myself in his shoes, even though I never have been. Like he's obviously a superstar globally. He lives in a very public platform. He has a wife who's also famous, but it seems like Dwayne Wade has so much going for him. It doesn't make sense to have to put out a video, of this nature. I mean, he could just send out a tweet or do a quick interview. I'm not sure why his publicist or his team would decide that this would be a good idea. I didn't care for it very much, although we are talking about it here, and it has gotten headlines. But there are something about athletes that live in a public platform that they do not understand how to live a private life at all. So they feel like every single important decision in their life needs to be broadcasted in the public landscape.
I just think it could have been a much better and a little shorter.
I thought it could have been shorter. I think he could have just done a quick minute video, black and white, with him talking in the background, maybe some clips when he was younger to where he is now. I think there's a way for him to have gone about it and make people aware that he's coming back for one more year without making it as strange as the One Last Dance video. Did absolutely nothing for me. So, I mean, last week we talked about Jason Maxiell airing all his public stuff, Kevin Love airing his public stuff about his depression. So I think there's a range and a spectrum of these guys and when they should come out publicly and when they shouldn't. And that's why they need good people around them to ensure that maybe we don't have another Dwayne Wade One Last Dance video again. But good luck in his last year. All right, let's move on to the Pac-12. Last couple of weeks, we've been able to preview the Big Ten as well as the ACC. The ACC has been the best conference in college basketball, especially since the old Big East got mixed around. But the Pac-12, one of the worst years in Pac-12 basketball history, that was last year. Just 3 teams made it into the NCAA tournament. 2 of those teams were firmly on the bubble in Arizona State and UCLA. They both lost in their last 4 in games. Arizona State lost to, who did they lose to? Syracuse. And then UCLA lost to St. Bonaventure. And then the only Pac-12 team in the round of 64, that was Arizona, who had a ton of issues on and off the court, and they got blown out by head coach Nate Oates and Buffalo by over 20 points. So Pac-12, one of the worst years in conference history. What can we expect from the Pac-12 this upcoming year?
Probably a repeat of last year. I mean, to be honest, they're going to be terrible again, top to bottom.
It does not look like a league that will be great. Again, I don't see them competing for one of the top 3, even within the power conference. But they do have a lot of interesting young talent coming in that I think will be exciting. But yeah, I don't expect them to be a powerhouse by any means.
Plus, I had a hard time watching the Pac-12 because all those games are on so late. At
Very
that
late.
point, I just never really watch. But then come tournament time, they prove me right every year. And they're irrelevant. What? Arizona's good every once in a while?
Arizona's usually very good.
Yeah, but then
Although they haven't made the Final
How many
Four.
Final Fours have they made in the last 10
Well,
years?
under Sean, they haven't made any, but under Lute Olson, they won national titles, and Sean's
Yeah,
got
but how long
Arizona
ago
to
was
1
that?
seeds.
How long ago was that?
12 years ago? I don't know the exact number on that.
Current.
But Lute Olson had, a ton of success there.
Current.
Late 90s, they were fantastic, but they've been very good under Sean.
You just said the 90s. That was over 18 years
But
ago.
under Sean, they've been very, very good. You can't slight what Sean Miller's been able to do. Don't slight him. Just because he hasn't gotten to the Final Four doesn't mean that Arizona has been relevant. Arizona's definitely been relevant over the last 5-6 years. And they've been just moments away from making the Final Four a couple of times since Sean has
That's what you play for.
been
You
at
play
the
for
helm
those,
as head coach. No,
you
I
play
understand.
for those moments that you
Well,
almost
when you're a
make it to the-
Kentucky fan, it's easy to throw shots at everybody.
well.
When you're Xavier guys like me and Greg, I'm not throwing shots at everyone that hasn't made the Final Four. We're still gunning for our
I'm
opportunity.
just saying
here.
they're irrelevant come March.
But the talent that they've been able to get has been exciting. The biggest problem for the Pac-12 has been UCLA's just been up and down. And since Steve Alford has gone there, he's in his 5th year, the furthest that UCLA has gone in the NCAA tournament is the Sweet 16. Is he going to be able to get UCLA to the Elite 8 Final Four status? And they haven't been able to do that yet. And for a conference that's on the West Coast where there is so much talent in California and really on that whole West Coast side, how they can't have enough talent in the Pac-12 to compete at least 3 or 4 teams. The fact that the Pac-12 gets 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, that should never happen. Although I will say, who am I looking forward to watching in the Pac-12? Oregon. Oregon missed the NCAA tournament last year. They bring in 3 players that played a lot last year. I know they didn't win a lot, but 3 guys who are tenured, and they bring in 2 5-stars. One of them is Manute Bol's son. I don't know if you guys have seen any of this guy's highlights, but he's 7'2". He's actually very, very skilled on the perimeter. He'll shoot from 3. He'll take a dribble or 2, go into a pull-up jump shot. So he's a very skilled 7'2". On the rating on ESPN, he's a 96 out of 100, one of the top players in the country.
That's his weight. That's his weight as well, correct? He weighs about 96 pounds.
He's not as slender. I know that you want to you want me to take a shot at him. I'm not taking a shot at Bol. Okay, I think Bol is 7'2". I would guess
What, a $115?
230. 7'2", 230. He doesn't look like a string. It's not like looking at Gumby. I promise you.
Okay. I've seen him. He looks like he doesn't eat.
No, he knows how to put a ball in a hoop. All right, third topic. Let's go to Danny Hurley at UConn. He took over for Kevin Ollie. Kevin Ollie had the meteoric rise to becoming one of the younger head coach in all of college basketball, winning a national championship, and then just a few years later, it's see you later, Kevin Ollie. You're out of here. You're fired, bud. Get out of here. Bring in Danny Hurley. He brings in or gets a commitment from a top 100 prospect in the New England area or the New York area, somewhere over there. But Danny Hurley gets a top 100 recruit. What do you guys expect Danny Hurley will be able to do at UConn? Are you excited about the hire and seeing what the Huskies can do in one of the best conferences in college basketball as we talk about it, the American?
Greg's favorite conference.
Yeah. I know Greg smiles whenever I talk about the American being good.
Hey, the AAC, they're, number 2? second best conference in the country, probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when
UConn,
maybe when it comes to
Wichita
mid-major
State.
conferences, yeah. No, I mean they're definitely not in the top, but they do have some good teams though.
I would expect it. It's kind of sad seeing UConn drop how they have. I mean, even though when they had Kemba was, it seems like just a few years ago, but I mean, you really hope he can get back on the recruiting trail and get some high-end quality prospects in there to kind of bring them back out of the dark, I guess you'd say.
It is amazing how quickly they've fallen off because 2014 they won a national title with Kevin Ollie, with Shabazz Napier.
That was 4 years ago,
and then they've had 2 losing seasons in a row in a conference that's very, very average. I mean, really, outside of Cincinnati and Wichita State, I mean, the American is a struggle. I mean, you could argue Temple. Temple rarely is an NCAA tournament team, maybe 30-40% of the time. But you really only have 2 tournament teams in the American every year. And it's hurt. UConn not being good, it does hurt college basketball, but it really hurts the American. I mean, you bring UConn into the fold, Cincinnati brings consistency, as does Wichita State. That would add another team in the mix. And then your second tiers of Temple, your Tulsas, then half of your conference is pretty good and competing for an NCAA tournament bid. Where in the last couple of years, when UConn's bad, where do you go? And Memphis has been bad too.
Well, I feel like they kind of had those years in between, for UConn. I'm looking here that they won the they won the title in 03-04, and they kind of dropped off the year after. They had a good year, but then they dropped off kind of like they did here, 17-win season, then a couple good years and another 18-win season, 20-win season, 20-win season. So they never got back up to that 25 or 26-win season.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Well,
until they got to the AAC, and then they're at 32 wins, 25 wins, and then obviously the past 2 years they've been pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, Danny Hurley, he's a great hire. He has winning pedigree, obviously. His dad's a legendary coach at St. Anthony's. His brother, Bobby Hurley, played at Duke. Obviously has been a fantastic head coach as well, currently at Arizona State. Danny Hurley took the job at UConn, previously 6 years at Rhode Island. One of the best 6 years from a winning percentage in Rhode Island history. Prior to that, 2-year turnaround at Wagner. I mean, this guy's been around the game for many years. He did it as a player. He's done it as a coach. I love the hire of Danny Hurley and James Bouknight. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. The number 87 player in the top 100 for next year will now be going to UConn. And they are targeting 4 other top 100 guys in the same area. So they're hoping that with James coming into UConn, that this will be a domino effect for the rest of those guys. So good luck to UConn. Good luck to Danny Hurley. I love Danny Hurley. Big fan of him. Nick, I know you are as well. Player spotlight. Jon Elmore. Nick, do we know who Jon Elmore is?
I'm watching right now.
What do you think of him?
He's white. He's white.
He is white.
That's what I got
What
so
do you think
far.
about his height?
I can't really tell.
He's pretty tall. I think he's 6'6".
Okay.
I've got him as
Is that music coming from the Jon Elmore highlight tape right now?
Sorry.
I've got him as 6'3".
6'3"?
Yeah.
I'm way off.
Not that tall.
So Jon Elmore at Marshall, let's do a quick player spotlight on him. He's best known for his 27 points that he had on Wichita State in the NCAA tournament. I mean, one of the more electrifying spectacles and player performances in the tournament last year, that was Jon Elmore of Marshall. Marshall has become one of the more exciting brands of basketball to watch in college basketball with the entrance of Dan D'Antoni as their head coach, the brother of Mike D'Antoni. Dan spent a number of time around Mike, obviously. They play that old school, don't call it old school, but very spread offense, Phoenix Suns type offense where everything is just completely spread out. Houston Rockets, a lot of threes. And Jon Elmore, he is the guy for Marshall leading the charge. What do you expect from Jon this year after having a fantastic junior season?
I mean, if you look back at last year, he led the Conference USA in points, assists, free throws made, free throws attempted, minutes played. I expect a lot out of him considering he averaged 23 points a game last year.
And, Nick, you're watching him for the first time right now on highlights. Your thoughts of Jon Elmore?
He has no problem letting it fly.
He lets that thing go. I mean, in the NCAA tournament game against Wichita State, he's 10 feet behind the line, pulling up with no problem. And he'll do it off the catch. He'll do it off the dribble. He has a fantastic step back as well. Creates a lot of space away from the defender.
He definitely creates a lot of space for himself. He's definitely a lot quicker than he looks like he should be. I think that probably goes well for him. And would you call him a a poor man's Brad Redford, or would you say that you just modeled his game
Well,
off you?
I would say if John was being honest with himself, he patterned his whole game after me. I mean, he took clips and he took it out of me. John's a great story there. Not a guy who was very highly touted coming out of high school. Marshall has become a fantastic place for him. He's shooting the ball incredibly. One of my favorite players right now to watch in college basketball. And that Marshall team, they are fun. The offensive style they play, the quick pace, the tempo, it is great. So Jon Elmore, bud, we love you here at the Be Different podcast.
Yeah, he'll throw it up from anywhere. I like him.
Does he average over 25 a game this year? He averaged 22.7 last year. So we're not saying a whole lot here, but does he average over 25 in his senior campaign?
I'm gonna say no.
I'll go yeah.
I'm gonna go yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
We're gonna do a replay of this.
He's gonna facilitate the ball even more than he did last year and be a more rounded player.
Yeah, Jon Elmore is a stud. We talked about it. Watch him at least one time this year. If you're a basketball fan, watch a little bit of Jon Elmore. He's fun to watch. All right, our fifth topic was brought to us, or at least brought to our attention via Facebook. This is a very interesting game. This is a new game, a game that I'm halfway excited about. But thank you to my brother Dan Redford for tagging me on this clip. I did watch this multiple times. I think it is worth talking about. But this involves bald men. And for whatever reason on this show, and I think it's probably more me, I am just obsessed with bald people. I mean, I really am. I myself feel my hair thinning at times, and I think at some point I could very well be a part of the bald community. I'm not there yet, so I can't speak like I am one of them. But bald head tug of war, I'm trying to explain this properly. The video's interesting, but it looks like suction cups are put onto two bald guys about 10 to 12 feet away from each other, and they play bald tug of war. And there's like a rope that goes in between the two suction cups. Is that a reasonable explanation?
I mean,
I'm not really sure. That's all I could really see from the video. So I guess the question here is, guys, should bald-headed tug of war, is that bald-headed tug of war? Are we settling on that?
Sure.
From a wordplay standpoint?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Should this become an Olympic sport?
No.
Only if Given can compete.
Yeah, I mean, if I get a fancy USA track jacket or something, to like maybe a nice solid headband.
I don't understand the skill.
I'm confused on the skill.
Does it hurt?
I think part of it is you have to get a really, really, really close shave right before for the suction.
You need a clean baldy.
Like I'm a little stubbly right now. You need a clean spot. So Well, I guess it depends on the suction cup. Oh.
Do you think it's the angle of which the angle of which you pull? Like if you angle, that suction cup's probably gonna come off. But like, do you have to be like perfectly straight with each other?
I'm not sure. And like,
do they practice?
What helps increase your chances of winning tug of war as a bald man? Is it RDLs? Is
nice
it
strong neck?
Is it right? That's what I was thinking. Squats, I don't think help. You don't need legs.
You gotta have a nice firm base.
Oh, maybe you do.
It's full body workout for sure.
Yeah. So you say no, Nick. It should not be an Olympic sport.
I don't think it should be an Olympic sport, but I do think it should be on TV more.
Okay. Greg, should bald-headed tug of war be an Olympic sport?
Well, it was founded by a bald men's club in Japan. There are technically only 65 members from all over Japan. So considering there's only 65 people in the entire world competing in this sport, I think we need to give it a little more time to pick up some steam.
So I'm going to say absolutely no. And
wait,
how
did you find this again?
Dan sent it over to me.
Of course he did.
Yeah. He actually wanted to call in. I feel bad, but
hi, Dan.
Dan's going to have to. Dan, send me a voicemail recording and we'll put it on maybe at some point, or at least we'll attach it at some level. But it should absolutely not be an Olympic sport, like absolutely not. And the fact that we're saying that this is a sport is ridiculous. This is a comedy show. This is not a sport. This should be played at local clubs, karaoke bars, dive bars, dive restaurants. This is not a sport. This is a comedy routine.
I think you can call it a sport.
This is not a sport.
Why not? You don't think it's physical activity at some level?
I mean, it's physical activity at some level, but this is like checkers. Like this would be saying checkers is a sport, like moving a piece with your hand.
Are you one of those guys that don't think that competitive gaming is a sport either?
Competitive gaming. it's more of a sport than bald-headed tug-of-war.
You think?
I think so, only because the guy who won it this year, and I don't think in any other sport you'd hear of this a lot. The winner this year is 81 years old. So
it's not a sport. If an 81-year-old can win the event on a global stage, it's not a sport.
Now, can we quit saying global? I mean,
this is a global sport.
It's in Japan.
Let me read a quote here. They want to view baldness in a positive manner, to have fun, and to brighten the world with our shiny heads.
World. You see it? They put it in their theme. In their mission statement, it's global.
You're allowed to have a global mission statement and operate very locally.
Well, when I saw it, looked like there was a lot of people of different colors across the world with bald heads, tugging that rope with their head. That's what I saw. I think we talked about this topic more than any other topic. But do yourself.
What's more interesting than Dwayne Wade crying?
That's true.
It's not. What's more weird, Dwayne Wade crying or bald-headed tug-of-war?
Well, I mean, bald-headed tug-of-war is still a little bit more weird, I think.
I enjoy it more, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the bald-headed tug-of-war clip more than I did Dwayne Wade.
Do you think we can get Leonard back on here and I could tug
maybe
with Leonard?
and Given can do it.
Leonard's got a great bald head.
Yeah.
Leonard would beat you, though.
Why?
He's taller.
You think more leverage?
Yeah, he's got more area.
Surface space?
He's got more surface on his
cranium. Is that your nice way of saying that Leonard's got a bigger head than me?
Well, he definitely has a bigger head than you. He's like 6'6".
Yeah.
And he's a big guy. Yeah, I mean, yes.
I just think I could talk enough shit that'd throw Lenny off his game, and I'd be able to come out with the dub.
I don't know if Lenny played for Bob Huggins. I don't know that any shit talking bothers Lenny.
I don't know. I think we can get Lenny laughing a little bit, get him sidetracked.
That's true. You could get him off topic though.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Bobby Riggs, our boy, he posted a video of Sky Roses that's happening. Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
I think you can order it at the Great American Ballpark, but basically all that it is, there's a La Rosa's pizza, and then you can order it with a Skyline chili dog in the middle of the pizza, and then you wrap it all together.
Is it good?
I mean, I will never try it.
Is Bobby a fan?
I don't think so. I read his article. I don't think he's a fan.
Really?
I think we probably need to get rid of this. I think it's too much.
Okay.
You're ruining good things. And then Tom, how are you doing? Tom's over there. So Tom has created a Iron Man, what do we call it? An Iron Man photo, chopped up photo. Logo of Travis Steele, head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. It's hashtag Team Steele. And it should be somewhere on the screen right now. I can't see it, so I feel like I'm talking into a green screen. But what it will be a picture of Travis Steele's head in an Iron Man suit, because he is strong like iron. He is a man of steel, and he's coaching up men of steel. And what we're doing for the Be Different podcast to help promote the strength of Travis Steele is we're going to allow anybody on this podcast to order a Travis Steele hashtag Team Steele t-shirt, and the picture that you're seeing right now, that's the picture that will be on the shirt. So if you do want it, just let us know, respond to Twitter or shoot me a DM, whatever you want to do, and we will figure it out. We will be ordering these t-shirts within the next 6 weeks, so make sure to get your Team Steel t-shirt and enjoy Trav in this beautiful, beautiful Iron Man suit that is in blue and has a little bit of an X right in the middle of his chest.
Are you going to charge Trav?
No. If Coach Steele wants a Team Steele shirt with him as Iron Man, no charge.
I think
is that fair?
That's fair.
No charge.
He's got to come in to do a podcast, though, I believe.
Yeah.
We got to get him in here for that.
Yeah.
Can we go to him? I just want to go back to the tech deck.
Tech deck's pretty cool. I do like the tech deck. Yeah, we need to get Travis on soon.
Maybe we can do that on
Coach
a Saturday while there's a bunch of good football games going on.
Yeah, and Coach Steele's a big Ohio State fan.
Set up 3 hours early.
Yeah,
he's a big Ohio State fan.
Really?
Well,
yep, he is.
We can turn one of the 16 TVs on.
Yep. So, fellas, that was fantastic. I thought the 5 topics were great. Greg, I think your best topic. I liked your Dwayne Wade takes. I also like Jon Elmore. Given your best one was by far the bald-headed tug of war. I mean, that you really shined in that.
Are we giving each other grades?
But that's no surprise.
Are we giving each other grades?
Yeah, I'll give Greg. I'm going to give you a C+.
Wow.
And then Nick, I'm going to give you A minus.
Oh, A minus. I think you were being generous there because you knew I'm about to go.
I'm gonna give you a D, Brad.
Okay, all right.
Maybe an F.
Well, I'm used to getting D's.
That sound. Oh my God! Wow.
Oh yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, floppies.
Yeah.
That's. I think we can end on that.
I think we have to stop at that point.
End on that.
But anyways, guys, thank you for following the Be
Look how
Different
red
podcast.
your face is.
I mean that.
Oh my God.
I did not mean to say that, but that's fantastic. Anyways, Be Different podcast will be back next week, and I'll try to refrain from saying anything close to what I just said. So, all right, we will be back.